Thank you, Raj. So I wanted to thank you for being with us on this interview. And I wanted to gain some perspectives from you on coaching. I know you've been an experienced coach for a few years now, and you've been a C-level leader prior to that. So I think your natural progression was to, start coaching and mentoring, individuals, leaders, and organizations. So in that context, Raj, I wanted to understand what kinds of perspectives have yielded the maximum results for your coaches. Even instead of saying maximum results, it can also be maximum insights for your coaches. What kinds of perspectives that you have utilized has yielded maximum insights?
Yeah, I would say 2-3 points. I would say number one is, basically number one is, stressing the importance of prioritizing. Mm-hmm. I think, right through all the coaches who I worked with,
correct,
I think this point which they had to work on, so prioritizing.
Correct.
Second is an organized follow through.
Correct.
Discussed with me and also with their colleagues.
Okay.
And the third one is to be patient and improve on your listening skills.
Correct.
You just don't be in a hurry to complete the other guy's sentence, and hang on and listen, pause, create a big gap between stimulus and response. I think these three, I would say, have been one of the important aspects of coaching for me.
Wonderful. Are there any specific, when you get into an engagement with a senior leader or with a high potential, are there any approaches, if you say, for example, some of us are using a certain framework, for instance, or some approaches that have worked well for you in your coaching engagements, Raj?
Yeah, especially when you're coaching, senior people, I mean, they're at a particular level where they don't need inputs on the basics.
Correct.
You got to, in the sense, tell them how to deal with, or, coach them how to deal with the team at large and carry the team with them all the time.
Correct.
I think important thing, and don't, thrust down his point of view or her point of view all the time. Be collaborative. I think that's one thing which I've worked with senior leaders. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Again, going back to the last point, I think listen rather than with an open mind, and don't have a closed mind. Not only it is important to listen, it is important to let others know that you are really listening. That's a very important thing, Priya, which I used to stress with all my people. Be genuine.
Correct. Absolutely. And because others can feel your intent, because as human beings, we have that sense of, feeling or understanding the situation. Even if we don't articulate it, people can sense it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, don't put up a falsehood in the sense it's not going to work. Okay, yeah.
Correct. Another thing that was be interesting to find out, Raj, is sometimes we get into this advice trap. We immediately jump to providing some advice because as we may have been in that situation, or we may have worked with other leaders in that situation. So immediately we jump into providing some advice to our coaches. So, and it is good in a way and they appreciate it. But in a general sense, how should we avoid this advice trap in coaching especially?
Yeah, see, the ideal way or the copybook method for coaching is allow the person to explore and find solutions, correct? That's they normally prescribe. I mean, you can do it 80% of the time, but I'm also a strong believer that the person is coming to you for some advice at the end of the day. Correct. There is nothing wrong. As long as you're not overtly prescriptive. Yeah, okay. Now, let me tell you. I mean, when I was the CEO or the MD of a company, I mean, throughout the day, I used to see situations where people used to come to me for solutions. So one standard thing, what I always use, and they got used to it, was when you please come to me with your problems, but come with two probable solutions, so that we will jointly find which one is the best of the two. So that them to think through, and then in the sense they also feel happy that the boss is is here to listen to my ideas and solutions. And then if they're one of the choices is chosen, the guys are extremely happy, Priya.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So what you're saying is that, look, I mean, at the end of the day, even when we're coaching, there is some level of they're looking up to us to help them, and there is nothing wrong in providing them with perspectives, or instead of calling it as the only suggestion that they should say, you're saying that it's good to provide them with some perspectives and that they can feel comfortable to explore and take forward, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Raj, also tell us if, or share with us, a couple of situations or anecdotes where your coachees have felt that they've got the maximum insight. Sometimes we call it as the coachable moments, right? So, have you had a situation or a coaching experience recently or in the past where you've had this coachee say, "Wow, this coachable moment provided a great insight for me or a great reframe for me," and thereby they had, they altered their thinking, or they altered their approach to getting maximum results? Has there been a situation like that?
Yeah, Priya, I think a couple of examples come to my mind which happened during my recent coaching assignments. First thing is, the senior manager in a large public sector organization, I was coaching him. The person is very intelligent guy, very successful, growing up pretty fast. But what got revealed during the 360 discussions and the feedback was the guy is emotionless. In the sense, good or bad, right or wrong, happy or sad, he maintains a stony face, and that's how he is. So obviously, in the sense, but when he was talking to me, he was all right, one-on-one, he was pretty nice, jovial, etc. So I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Okay. A dual personality like this. So I went through his, normally all my coaching sessions I do, first one session is understanding their past. Childhood, your education, and your professional life, 3 parts.
Correct.
And when I revisited the childhood part, I found that very early, when he was probably 10 years old, he lost his brother in a very cruel accident.
Okay.
When that happened, his entire family was grieving, and he was the only one who was consoling them and keeping his emotions tight, and was not letting it out. So, and his father, mother, and only brother, were extremely sad, and they didn't know, and he was acting like an adult. And so I think that is carrying through his entire life.
Correct.
So when we started tracing back and said, okay, look here, that's long back, that's 30 years back. Now 30 years has passed. You don't need to control your emotions. Start talking to people, express your emotions. Like the expression of emotions is the most important thing. I mean, I'm not saying you start going and cursing everybody, but express it well. And when the 360, even his wife said this, we don't know what's happening to him. So I think that made a huge change for him, and he's changed. And he started. I said, in the morning, once you get to the office, go, in the sense, what will you do? I normally sit in the office, think and go to others' offices, others' cabins, others' desks, sit down, have a chat, start moving out. I think that was a very good. That was one example. The other example, there's a person who was, again, very popular, in the office. Again, a large private sector company, very popular, but he always misses deadlines.
Wow.
Always misses deadlines. He used to miss deadlines of coaching assignments with me. Okay, coaching. I asked him. So then when we got talking, first thing he had this strange thing called FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay. Number two is he could not say no to anybody. And he was quite popular in the office and he was influential in the city. Anybody comes, child wants an admission in the school, he'll run and do it for them. So as a result, he was living his life for others, not caring for his own. When we started looking at this, I said, it's okay. In the sense, you please do. I'm not asking you to stop what you're doing, but examine what is it doing to your own self.
Correct.
That really opened his eyes, and he said, sir, I one great learning is I have to learn to say no. So I think these two, Priya, would be interesting anecdotes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sometimes when we, all of this traces something or the other to the way their childhood plays a critical role in molding people. And sometimes when you examine that and you are able to heal the wounds of the childhood, I think we are able to blossom as adults, right?
Yeah, exactly. The chemistry session, the first part of the coaching, is very important because it really opens your eyes and opens the coach's eyes as to what many of your actions of today has a linkage to the past.
Correct.
Spot on and tell him that this is what is leading to this. Now, I think we can overcome many situations.
True. And Raj, even in the context, like when we are coaching different leaders, and some of them are in the let's say they could be a mid-level professional, but they could be a high potential who's been given a coach. Sometimes you have a senior leader who is whom we coach, and sometimes there are those C-suite people who are also board members, etc., whom we get the opportunity to coach. Now, how do you approach these different layers of coaching? We sometimes we can just say we coach, but there is a distinction in the way we take the journeys with different types of coaches and where they stand in the journey of their leadership or the impact that they're able to create. How would you differentiate these different layers?
Yeah. It's a very interesting question because the one size fits all doesn't work in coaching.
Correct.
See, the point is, in the sense, I think, first we need to understand, I mean, normally my coaching sessions after the chemistry session ask, what is your expectation in life, not from coaching. In life, so these expectations change from the three levels what you talked about, a junior, a mid-level, and a senior person. It's completely different.
Correct.
Because people would have changed years and they would be looking at things differently in their life. I think the most important thing is once we know, I mean, very often I think coaches, what they do is they say, what is their expectation from coaching? That's a very closed question.
Correct. Okay.
So if you open it and ask, saying that what is your expectation from yourself? Then he'll say, I want to become the managing director, or I want to become a vice president of marketing. I want to improve on my skills. So that comes out. So then what normally happens is then we do I'm just telling you the procedure as to what I adopt. Okay. So then there are standard strengths which are there, the 24 strengths which are to, and we'll ask him to pick out the top 10 which he desires to possess. Okay. And then you pick the top 10. And when you do a psychometric, these top 10 what he wants may not be in the top 10 of the psychometric. So then, be it across levels, this has worked. Okay. So what you want and what you are, I think if you're able to find out exactly for all the levels, I think, Priya, it makes a huge difference. Then we'll be focus on the right areas for coaching. Obviously, the coaching for junior level person will be different to an MD or CEO, because they want, the MD or CEO wants you to be to help him be more strategic more, directionally oriented, etc. But a youngster will have lot more other small priorities to deal with.
Correct.
I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely. Gives the, it helps us understand that human beings, although we all are we're all aspiring as human beings. Everybody wants to move ahead, make an impact. But as you rightly said, the person at a very senior level, he has come to that level, overcoming a number of things. And so he is all about getting that, focusing to getting that getting closer to his purpose. Whereas I think when a person is at a mid-level or at a not so senior position, his trajectory is to explore many things, right? So I think he's more experimentative rather than the person at the senior level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you really look at, I'm just giving you another example. If you go and ask a budding cricketer today, what is your expectation of the scores, what you will do in the next 10 matches?
Correct.
He will give you, I will do 0, 10, 15, 20. This is what I want to do. But after the 10th match, you go and compare both. If there is very close to what his aspirations are,
Correct.
then they're predicting what he wants to do.
Correct.
Other problem. And more importantly, like what you said, the aspirations change.
Correct.
Yeah. And a junior person, what do they want to do? In fact, I have asked this to many young budding executives in my company. When they join, I come and ask them, when they have a chat with me, I ask them, what do you want to become? The immediate answer, if you join the marketing stream, he will say, sir, I want to become the brand manager. I want to become the marketing manager. It will stop there. Okay. He will never for a minute say that I want to become the CEO or I want to become the managing director. Because, you look up to your nose only. Okay. So that's quite true. I think, Priya, you're right. And there's no point in a 27, 28-year-old guy thinking that, what's going to happen to him at the age 58. So I think let the aspirations be to a level which is within his eyesight. That's also important. If the guy is, stays long term, too long term, in the sense, okay, it's a pie in the sky, it may happen. So I think according to the levels, we should look at what is reachable in the near future.
Correct. Absolutely. And it's also that we see that in organizations, there are a number of internal coaching engagements that happen. So there are a lot of internal coaches, and then there are lots of external coaches like us. So how would you say should be a direction for, let's say, organizations to blend both of them? What's really the positives of internal coaching, and what really can external coaches accomplish for organizations? Because both of us are working to elevate them or to get them closer to their aspirations and growth.
Yeah, Priya, because I worked in a large company for over 30 years. Okay, I've seen this, train the trainer, and I've seen situations like mentoring, etc. It works to a point.
Correct.
Beyond that, it doesn't go. I'm being very serious, in the sense it doesn't work beyond. I think you need an external catalyst to trigger the coaching mechanism. If you can have to a limited extent, if you have a guy to get experienced in coaching, he can get trained as a coach. But they've got other priorities in life. Let's be clear. The sense a guy is chasing turnover or his production targets or financial numbers, etc. On top of that, you superimpose something. Why don't you go and help him in behavioral coaching, your colleague? It becomes a absolutely part-time activity for him.
Correct.
And it is a force fit, Priya. I'm telling you about my experience. Others may have found success, but it's not worked. So meant, in the sense, coach the coach, all that will not happen. So I think that is something which I would not recommend very strongly. Take the help of an external coach.
Okay, okay, okay. Excellent, Raj. Thanks. And one final question, Raj, to you is, what will be your contribution to the future of coaching?
Oh yeah, it's a good. My contribution to the future of coaching is, I've been working very. I think I spoke to Venkat also about this. The most important things, we guys do a lot of work in 6 months, over 10 sessions to help people. Over 1 hour sessions, we give them a lot of inputs and help them to elevate to the next level in coaching. Correct. But what happens after 6 months?
Correct.
What are these? They're still remembering what we have taught them or not, or spent time with them or not. I think the most important thing is sustainability of the coaching inputs and giving them a timely reminder and giving them nudges for the next 1 year. Beyond 1 year, if it becomes a habit, I don't think we need to bother about it. I think after the coaching gets over, I think for a period of 1 year, either it is electronically triggered reminders, triggers, etc. And also, and once in a while, a formal conversation, which should be built as a part of the coaching program.
Correct. Correct.
Because otherwise, the light goes off after the coaching assignment is over. So that's something which I've started working, and with many of the organizations where I have done coaching, we have started something called a sustainability tracker. That every Saturday, a tracker gets triggered. They have to, against the 3 goals, what percentage have you done this week? But I think that's, I would like to contribute and like to, share this with anybody who wants to.
Correct, correct. Absolutely right. I mean, when we don't want to keep an engagement at a very superficial or saying, yes, I've done it and you've kind of done a tick box to the whole thing. You want to make a deep impact, which is what, unless we focus on what happens after the sessions and how are their, either their managers need to support them, or we are also responsible in a way to kind of keep them, or rather what you say, nudge them to the direction. It's like the elephant and the mahout, right? The mahout has to guide the elephant to move forward. In a way, it is a responsibility that we have to, we'll have to bring to it, and at a systemic level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you use the right word, systemic. Institutionalize it.
Okay.
I think we should take it forward beyond that. We don't need to meet every month. But,
Okay.
there are electronic triggers, and then meet once a quarter. See, the same coach who coached the person need not meet him. All we need is a set of goals and action plans. What are you doing about it? A casual conversation, even for 30 minutes, will help.
Wonderful, wonderful. Absolutely, Raj. I think it's something that as coaches and even as a coaching organization, we should get into doing it, so that we are able to see the deep impact we are able to create to that individual even after a period of time, what we've done. I mean, we may have done some great insights, great conversations, and it just doesn't end there, right? It needs that, has he transformed? Has he, has his goals meant something to him? Has he gone and achieved them, or even raised the water level and said, oh, I've even done bigger than what I set out for?
Yeah. This is what I would say, the difference between customer satisfaction and customer intimacy.
Yes.
Satisfaction is taking, doing what the customer wants. That's
Correct.
what we do for 10 sessions. Customer intimacy is taking responsibility for his results beyond.
Correct. Absolutely, Raj. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Raj. And I'm grateful for the insights you have shared with us. And I want to wish you the very best in your journey as a coach, and also as a human being, and all the things that you are, doing as part of your journey and purpose.
Thank you, Priya. Wish you all the best.